Black Frieza's #1 priority is to overtake the master of the multiverse, ZENO-SAMA, the supreme ruler of all and its most powerful being. You might think, this guy is a little pipsqueak. How is he so frightening? Well, we can't forget this childlike being can wipe the entire multiverse with just a snap of his fingers. Frieza's agony of taking an L from Goku, Vegeta, Broly, and BEERUS made the Galactic Emperor hit the gym for 10 freaking years. And it's not just his physical might. Frieza in Dragon Ball Super has received significant character development by doing some mental training in hell, reinstigating his true self. Training in complete solitude in a room of spirit and time would normally drive a person insane. Even Goku in his youth had to quit after training a mere month because he couldn't handle the atmosphere. But Frieza is built different. In fact, power levels play a big part in this. The more powerful you are, the longer you can train in one. The time chamber Frieza trained in had to be on a completely different level to the one on Earth, since even after being reconstructed, Vegeta still managed to destroy the door to it. This was a Vegeta before the Tournament of Power, and Frieza now dwarfs Ultra Ego, never mind Super Saiyan Blue, highlighting how busted he has become. He's basically a mutant anomaly in his own race, and had a max power level of 120 million without even training once in his entire life. To put things in perspective, his power level in his first form was 530,000. Other beings in the universe at the time were literally ants. He was 500 times stronger than Goku, who had lived 24 years on Earth. If we compared them at the beginning of Z, his final form would have been around 129,870 times stronger than Goku at this point. Everyone in the universe would be an ant and have to serve under his tyrannical rule. And when he did actually work out, Frieza went from this to Super Saiyan Blue in a matter of 4 months. But let's be honest, that didn't change the results of his battles now, did it? However, now, Frieza's bites are bigger than his barks, cause imagine the level of strength he'd achieve with 10 years of training, whipping his body and mind to a level unlike anything we've seen before, unlocking the most powerful form that comes with Black Air Force energy. And if we consider Toyotaro's credit card inspiration, Platinum Frieza might even be a thing. What? Toyotaro reveals that Black Frieza is inspired by credit card levels, which makes sense since Frieza is an honest businessman after all, right? Seriously, Toriyama actually created him with the image of real estate speculators that crashed the Japanese economy in his mind. Well, anyway, the biggest twist in the Granolah arc is when Frieza reveals to his broker Elec that he knew about the Heaters' plans and their real intentions 40 years ago. Throughout the arc, we've seen Elec meticulously plan to take over Frieza's army behind his back. Right from tipping off Frieza about the Ceruleans to pitting Granolah against the Saiyans, and finally manipulating gas to make him the strongest in the universe in exchange for his life, just so he can kill Frieza for him. Elec's proclaim about his superior intellect sold the fandom that he's the but in reality, Frieza baited Elec into thinking that way, just to exploit the Heaters for his army's benefit.
Of course!
Elec stated in chapter 68 that the one with the most intel controls the universe, and in chapter 87, Frieza just so happens to claim that there's nothing in the universe that he isn't privy to. Because of this, he was able to have 70% of the universe under his thumb with one move, killing Elec, which made his ego buff up even more. The foreshadowing was laid out in chapter 77, where Elec's sister Maki tells him to watch out for Frieza's broken intellect and strength, implying he's being underestimated and his entire goal is to rule everyone. So like every other Dragon Ball villain, Elec's ego became his own undoing as Frieza ended his contract by killing him. Frieza easily dispatches the strongest in the universe, Gas, whilst everyone else was struggling. But to Frieza, he is just an ant again, bringing back the era at the beginning of Z. That is why he can one-punch Goku and Vegeta in their strongest forms, ticking all the boxes to match the Oracle Fish prophecy. In chapter 68, the prophecy states that the strongest in the universe will soon rise up, and that person will cause a shift in the balance of the cosmos. This prophecy was made when the fish was suffering from insomnia, which is described by Whis as a bad omen for the future. Vegeta thought, oh, I'm that guy, I'm the one that will fulfill that premonition, right?
You're not that guy, pal, trust me. You're not that guy.
No, the writers are never gonna give this guy a W and keep proclaiming his name as the King of Elves. As we all saw, Vegeta and Goku are being whooped by Granolah and Gas separately. On top of that, the Oracle Fish didn't even know who Gas was in the first place.
Who?
On the other hand, Black Frieza is the perfect candidate, and here are 3 reasons why. First off, the chapter in which Frieza drops out of nowhere in the Granolah arc is called The Universe Strongest Appears, and he affirms that he has surpassed both his rivals. Secondly, Elec states in chapter 68 that Frieza's resurrection caused the state of things in the universe to shift. Furthermore, Dragon Ball's official site confirms Frieza to be the true strongest warrior in the universe at the end of the Granolah arc. Black Frieza is now the ultimate threat for our heroes, as Vegeta sets his priorities straight by aiming to defeat the Emperor once and for all. Now, I can't say this was unexpected, as Frieza's evolution was foreshadowed in the Broly movie by Vegeta himself, where he affirms that Frieza would train even harder to achieve a new form and become more powerful to defeat the Saiyan duo. However, at the time, Goku argues that Frieza deserved to be resurrected because he helped save the universe. But Vegeta had no doubt in his mind that Frieza would never side with them. Frieza literally warned them that he had no intention of stopping his evil ways after his revival. The key reason why Vegeta wanted to get stronger at the time was to defeat Frieza, because he knew what he was capable of. Vegeta called out Goku for thinking Frieza had changed, hence calling him an idiot a bunch of times, and that was well deserved. So even though we jokingly call him the Prince of Elves, Vegeta has a point here, right? Frieza is an irredeemable character who always thinks about himself and nothing more. In fact, the only reason he even agreed to participate in the Tournament of Power was because he'd be revived by the Dragon Balls. Even during the competition, we all saw it. Everyone thought Frieza was being selfless as he was willing to sacrifice himself to knock out Jiren, but that isn't the truth, not even close to it. At that time, his ego as a ruler took over his desire to be revived. We all saw how massively OP Jiren was, including the gods themselves. And what better way is there to get everyone's attention than by being the one who took out the Titan himself? Frieza's goal for the tournament was to make everyone, including the Zenos, afraid of him. However, much to his dismay, Android 17's selfless wish to restore all the erased universes made the whole mood hunky-dory. That's why Frieza preferred to go back to hell, because he couldn't stand seeing others happy. Vegeta knew all about this because he also once encompassed true evil. He understood how aggravating it would be for the Galactic Tyrant, so he will definitely not let this slip by. But you may ask, ABD, why didn't Black Frieza just kill Goku and Vegeta like he always wanted to then? Well, look here, to explain Dragon Ball's logic, we have to mention how Frieza wanted to give Goku the taste of his own medicine. Remember back in the Frieza saga, Goku wanted to stop the fight prematurely? He states that Frieza ain't even worth fighting anymore, because at that point, Frieza's ki was dropping so fast that it would be too easy of a victory for the Saiyan. What Goku is essentially trying to do is break Frieza's ego. The Emperor was once revered as the pinnacle of power and fear throughout the universe. Even King Kai shat his pants upon sensing his presence on Namek. ordering Goku to never confront him. Likewise, the Galactic Patrol vowed never to talk about Frieza after he'd once beaten the crap out of them. He ruled over the Saiyans for decades, where even King Vegeta bowed at his feet. So being defeated by a mere monkey was humiliating enough, but being deemed worthless to not even receive the sweet release of death made his blood boil. That feeling had been imprinted in Frieza's mind all this time, and achieving the same effect to Goku and Vegeta felt absolutely liberating. As a result of their defeat, Goku and Vegeta will stop at nothing to work even harder than ever, stating that their training is nowhere near complete. We learn in chapter 93, Vegeta admits their bodies have peaked, whereas their minds haven't. So this time around, their training will be more focused on tuning their spirit, technique, and energy, similar to how Frieza once did in Hell, which is why Vegeta includes Frieza in the list of foes who had a composed mind before and after attacking, thereby saving their energy. Another reason for Frieza allowing the Saiyans to live is making sure not to repeat his crucial mistake in Resurrection of F, that is, blindly giving into his lust for revenge. He basically rushed to Earth, busted a nut as soon as he achieved his golden evolution without spending time getting the hang of it, which caused him to ultimately lose, as he was initially winning. However, after his time with Goku and the Z fighters, Frieza has evolved from an immature tyrant to a strategic chess player. Unlike Granolah, Frieza didn't let his lust for revenge get the better of him and rush to the scene. In fact, he states specifically that Goku and Vegeta are not the reason why he came to Planet Cereal in the first place, but rather that he came to eliminate the Heaters. This showcases Frieza's character development, branching off from his Namek Saga days if you forgot. Remember when he was patient enough to convince the Namekian elders that he was worthy of the Dragon Balls. This implies that Frieza thinks objectively and only kills those who get in his way of achieving his goals. Otherwise, he would have just killed the Namekians right from the beginning.
However, Dragon Ball Super stepped up its world building by introducing us to universally acclaimed characters like BEERUS and Zeno, who interfered in Frieza's business, but he couldn't do anything about them. For example, like BEERUS barking orders at him to clean up his house, which Frieza immensely despised, as it undermined his authority. Frieza even shows his fear of BEERUS in the Resurrection F arc, being terrified by his presence, knowing that he has no chance of defeating the God of Destruction if he chooses to get involved. This feeling of fear is something Frieza despises the most, hence his pursuit for immortality during the Z series. On top of that, he only wanted to rule this universe, but as soon as he realized that there is a multiverse which is bigger than he thought, his target also increased as the location to conquer expanded. Therefore, he understands that BEERUS and the other gods wouldn't let the death of Goku and Vegeta go unnoticed, so Frieza has to overpower them before going after the Saiyans. This brings us to his goal with his new power of Black Frieza. We cannot forget his bold declaration he makes whilst looking at the Zenos and Dragon Ball Super episode 99. One day, I promise, I shall reign over you. But this isn't the only moment, as Frieza saw the other gods were also shaking in their boots at the mere glance of the Omni King, even witnessing firsthand of the Zenos erasing an entire universe, which got him thinking, wait a second, that's my job!
It should have been me, not him!
Think about it. If you watched only Dragon Ball Z and I told you there are gods of destruction in Super, I wouldn't be surprised if you said Frieza might be one of them. He even embodies the ego that is required to control Hakai, that destruction gods need in the first place. Frieza was even referred to as a better god of destruction than the universe's 9 Sidra and withstood his Hakai, which makes sense of Toyotaro, the writer, pointing out Frieza is amongst their nature. nature. Adding to this, BEERUS respected him due to their similar destructive tendencies, which led to him requesting Frieza to destroy planet Vegeta on his behalf. Now, of course he wanted to do this anyways, since he was afraid of a Super Saiyan legend who would rise up to destroy his goal in ruling the universe. So yeah, there's two reasons why he did it. Otherwise he would have kept on using the Saiyans to do his bidding. But what's for sure is that Frieza's ego is so big and hypocritical to the point where he cannot even imagine being in the same position as those he rules over, which is why he proclaimed in episode 95 that there'll come a time when BEERUS won't be allowed to do as he pleases, becoming subservient to Frieza's will. Now, that episode of Dragon Ball Super is crucial in understanding Frieza's character development and the meaning behind his plan, as he reveals his true self in front of Goku, making him shiver in fear. Cold even stated that Frieza is even more cold-hearted and short-tempered than I am, which makes sense as Frieza's true goal is to rule over everything, to be Lord Frieza in every universe. This comes from a strong sense of ego which BEERUS states is necessary to learn the techniques of the God of Destruction. Frieza, unlike Vegeta, has a greater natural affinity to this. For example, he has no attachment to anyone, including his own father or Universe 7. In episode 95, the Supreme Kai of Universe 9 is so shocked by Frieza's evil nature and tells him he must have something to protect or remember fondly. To that, the villain replies, "I'm sorry, I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about." Bro even scoffed at the notion of reviving his father when Sorbet suggested it in Resurrection F. This speaks volume of Frieza's selflessness. His only reason for waking up in the morning is himself and nobody else. So now that we understand Frieza's ego and nature, that it's only natural for him to seek the highest level of reign to fulfill his ego, nothing can be above him, which brings us to Frieza's ultimate plan to rule over Zeno. Now imagine if Frieza won the ultimate wish at the Tournament of Power. He would have wished to kill all the other gods and to be the only one for Zeno to serve. In fact, when Goku achieved Ultra Instinct Sign in the anime, Frieza seemed thrilled by the fact that the gods were in disarray, smirking menacingly. And now, Frieza's power has finally become a contender to challenge the gods of destruction, directly or even indirectly. In chapter 87, Frieza says that he has eyes and ears all over the universe. There is nothing he isn't privy to, so he must know about the gods' weakness by now. To balance the world, every god of destruction is paired with a Supreme Kai within their respective universe. Their souls are linked, and this allows harmony to exist. However, if either one would die, their counterpart would meet the same fate. Effectively, this means if Shin, who is the current Supreme Kai, were to be killed, BEERUS too would die. So if Frieza orchestrates a plan to assassinate every Supreme Kai from each universe at the same time, he would pretty much cripple Zeno's advisory force in one swoop. The angels are also limited, in which they cannot intervene in the matters of the mortals, as seen with BEERUS disappearing because he helped Goku defeat Moro due to his sense of justice. So with that, Frieza must have a plan to bind their choices and limit them from intervening in his master plan. When it comes to Zeno, well, a being like that, Frieza will not try to kill him, rather manipulate him, just like he did with Elec. And the Tournament of Power actually gave him a clue how. Zeno doesn't care about anybody in the entire multiverse except for one person, and that's Goku. Bro even threatened to wipe out his own two guardians when they tried to stop Goku from speaking to him. Goku may be weaker than the Grand Priest, but surpasses him in the department of purity. That's why Zeno accepts him and asks him to be his friend. Frieza knew that if he killed Goku in the Granolah arc, Zeno would be after his head. But what if he kept Goku alive, just to exploit that friendship to get Zeno under his control? The Galactic Emperor Frieza also observed Zeno's instinctual desire to be entertained at all times, cause he gets bored pretty easily. I mean, look look at his kingdom. There's absolutely nothing going on. Even the Grand Priest envies Universe 7 for being such a lively place. Sure, Zeno has his counterpart from the future timeline to keep him company, but they too would get bored of each other one day. Taking advantage of this desire, Frieza will postulate a better alternative to Zeno for the universe. Maybe have another tournament of power where he could fight against the other gods of destruction and take their position. Even in episode 95, he asks Sidra whether he could join their team for the tournament in case Universe 7 gets kaput. That means Frieza has his eyes on becoming the god of destruction of other universes from that point on. BEERUS even states in chapter 27 that it's easier for Vegeta to become a god of destruction in a universe other than his own. So if Vegeta can, Frieza would be more than capable. However, if he doesn't take an indirect approach, there's also another way. Remember, in Dragon Ball Super Superhero, Frieza had a set of dragons in his custody. With that, he could wish to know Master Zuno's location, the very person that knows everything and anything in the multiverse, and then Frieza could ask Zuno the weakness of Zeno himself. But if you guys want to learn how BEERUS will not let this happen or even be stopped, as he is the strongest god of destruction in the multiverse, then check this video out next.